Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Rob Van Dam, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for NJPW Fighting Spirit Unleashed 2024 review. Breaking down the card from this past Friday from Lowell, Massachusetts, as only we can. And to do that, I am rejoined by my good friend, the most positive NJPW fan in the world on her road to the Tokyo Dome, Sonal. How are you doing?
It's always nice to be back. I can't do every one of these previews and reviews, but I will damn well try hard. So here I am to review the Fighting Spirit Unleashed. And like you said, on my road to the Tokyo Dome, this was a very interesting and very important show.
Yes, a lot of big matches for both January 4th as well as January 5th. You had Wrestle Kingdom 19 being set up. You had Wrestle Dynasty, excuse me. There's so many wrestles. Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th. A lot of big matches set up on this show, but we're going to break it all down as only we can. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. You can sound off in the live chat. You could drop the thumbs up on the video. We love to interact with all of you guys during the live portion of the review. So if you have any thoughts, any takes on Fighting Spirit Unleashed or anything going on in New Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as AEW crossing over into this show, especially with the big matchup set up for Wrestle Kingdom with title versus title ramifications that we got in the headline here. If you want to discuss that, sound off in the live chat. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you could send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the supporters that you see that come on screen and contribute their takes on pro wrestling as only we can. But of course, we got one in the chat already. Thank you for joining us. G Loke, who says, what it do, True Hill Heat Main? Smash up that like. What a show. So let's go, cuz. So what was your feelings overall coming out of Fighting Spirit Unleashed this past Friday? Because I did not expect that much being set up for the big shows on January 4th and 5th.
I think show-wise, if you look just at the matches, I don't think it was one of the best. That's just because we have had some very strong New Japan Strong shows this year. But like you said, in terms of story-wise and what is coming ahead, I think it was massive. Like, we have been getting teasers of what to expect from Wrestle Kingdom from the Japanese shows, but you never expect it. Like, because, and again, I wasn't there because I'm here in the UK, but the crowd, it didn't seem as full. Do you know what I mean? Like a huge, compared to what I've seen in the past. So it's like, it felt like not a road to show, but one of the smaller New Japan ones.
Yeah, it felt like kind of like a New Japan Road. Like something that has a name on it, but it wasn't like a big major kind of like US show like Battle in the Valley or Resurgence or Windy City Riot or anything like that. But like that's why I didn't expect it to have that much with like setup for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty.
I didn't even watch it live. I watched it the next day. I was like, I looked at the card and I was like, well, not much is gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna be huge. It's fine if I watch it the next day. And then I woke up and I suddenly saw, obviously, the main thing we're going to talk about, Takeshita and Shingo. And I was like, oh. I mean, again, it probably wasn't worth me staying up for like 3 hours at a godly time.
I think it went like 4 hours, the show overall, because it went past I think it started before SmackDown and then it ended after SmackDown. So SmackDown was 2 hours, so it was like 3.5 at least.
And to be fair, like the watching it the next day allowed me to miss one of the matches, which we will discuss. And Jay News would probably agree with me skipping this match. So
he would be very proud of you, Sonal, if he knew the matchup that you skipped, because he was like, I would have skipped it too if he was on the review. He had to watch it. But shout outs to Jay News, the third of our never Openweight 6-man tag team champions or 6-person tag team champions. And of course, we got a super chat donation. Thank you so much. I Make Beats starting off strong. He says, finally getting big text or Takeshita versus Dragon. Let's go. I mean, this was a dream match that a lot of us wanted when we heard Takeshita was announced for the G1, but they were in different blocks, so it wasn't able to go down. Takeshita did not move on into the semifinals or into the finals where he would have faced Shingo. But man, I was just so excited when I heard Shingo's music hit on Friday. I was watching it live and I was like, oh my God, we're getting Takeshita versus Shingo. I thought it was for Wrestle Dynasty when he came out. And then they announced it for Wrestle Kingdom. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. We understand your whole mission to put in Shota Umino, and I appreciate it. I'm a Shota soldier. But
the Shota supporters here. We are Shota supporters.
But you had to put big matches underneath because this is a project that you're doing with Shota Umino. Maybe it's going to work. Maybe it doesn't with, the boos and the reaction that he gets when he's against Zack Sabre Jr. But you got to pick big matches like match of the year candidates underneath, and Takeshita versus Shingo Takagi. Sign me up. I would have made plans already. See, I should have made plans before. Like you told me, I would have been on my plane ride, but it's a little too late in the game. But it's understandable. But damn, what a match for Wrestle Kingdom.
Can I just say, though, if this was their plan all along, and that's why they didn't give us in the G1, I'll take it. I will take them two wrestling at the Tokyo Dome with 2 titles on the line than on a G1 match. Not just because, obviously, I'm going to be there, but just I think a match of that caliber is deserved of a Tokyo Dome. And I wonder, where it's going to be on the card, because obviously so far in terms of big title matches, we have the heavyweights of Shota versus Zack, which is obviously main event. We have this one. Is this going to be higher or lower than Tsuji versus Finlay? Which I guess is the only other big title match that we've already got booked.
I could see it being like third from the top, or like third from the bottom, third from the main event, like just before Finlay and Tsuji. I think you got to give, if it's Tsuji that's going to win that one, you got to give him like the semi-main event to really kind of be like the Three Musketeers are here.
Unless they put Naito versus Hiromu.
That is also true.
Oh yeah, singles. That will be, if that is a match, that is going to be very high.
I agree. I mean, because it's title versus title, I think it should be a little bit higher than that, though. I can understand the global heavyweight championship. You're kind of going to put that on the intercontinental championship level, so you got to put that in the semi-main event. Then you got to put Shingo and Takeshita like right before then, or like second from the top, like they did Shingo versus Jeff Cobb in 2021.
That's what it should do. New Japan should do a fan vote.
Not again. They're really gonna be like Shota Umino is the new Tetsuya Naito. That's what they're gonna be telling us.
They've been pushing it. They have been pushing it though. But I know, look, the
don't do that to Shota.
I would love that, but I can't have that to Zack. I can't have Zack lose his main event spot. But I just thought that'd be funny because, like you said, they're pushing this Tetsuya Naito similarity, and just to drop that bamboo would be the funniest thing. Gato's like in the back, he's writing this down. He's like, right, okay, let's throw this a week before fan vote time.
Yeah, I mean that would just push it over the top that he's the new Tetsuya Naito. He's just gotta. Then they're gonna send him to Mexico for CMLL, and then he's gonna join one of their stables. Gonna come back. He's gonna have the whole bunch of whatever faction he joins. Maybe he joins the Death Riders after all of this that we're gonna see on this show.
We're gonna speak about what might implicate from January the 5th. So
yeah.
Who knows?
We shall see. We also got I Make Beats who says, I love Takeshita, but I wouldn't be mad at AEW International Champ Shingo. I wouldn't either.
That'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. He deserves it, Shingo. Like, I'm all for Takeshita. I love Takeshita, but Takeshita's young. Takeshita, Shingo has been under the radar for too long. Strap that man with a massive belt. Like, his world title reign wasn't long enough. So give him something.
I agree. You got to give him the ball in some way. I wouldn't be mad at it. I do think Takeshita wins, but I wouldn't be mad at Shingo winning at all. Shingo's one of my boys. This is like two of my favorite wrestlers. Like if I gave you a top 10, these two would be in it.
It's like picking your favorite child, isn't it? You're like, well, who am I gonna pick? You can't. Shingo or Takeshita,
It's tough. We appreciate y'all joining us live. And yes, happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there, everyone celebrating. We appreciate y'all for joining us on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. And like I said before, drop the thumbs up, show your support in that way. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. But give your one word, one phrase, Sonal, to give your overall thoughts on Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
Storylines.
That's a good one. So people got to get used to the noises in the background now. I'm not in quiet old England anymore. It's New York again. So
he's left us. He's left the peace and quiet of the UK.
It was peaceful and quiet. I had my little room set up for me and stuff.
Why there's sun coming out of your window, but as you can tell from my window, it's pitch black outside.
We're in two different times. It's what? It's 1:26 for me. It's 1:26 for me.
6:30 here.
Yes, and it was getting dark. It was getting dark when I was leaving, when it was like 6 o'clock on Saturday.
It gets dark at like 4 o'clock here now. The clocks went back was it 2 weeks ago while I was on holiday, and now it's just pitch black from like 5 o'clock. Bedtime at 5 o'clock.
But yes, what's your one word overall thought for Fighting Spirit Unleashed?
Storyline.
Storyline? All right, mine is, I would say it's ramifications. There
Oh,
was a lot of,
that's a fancier word.
yes, I looked it up. My Mark Briscoe word of the day calendar. Thank you, Mark Briscoe. But we had the kickoff show, the kickoff match. You had Matt Vandergriff getting another win in the Strong Survivor, and he got challenged afterwards by a gentleman who just came back from the New Japan New Japan dojo over in Japan, got his head shaved. The matchup itself, I mean, I wasn't blown away. I like Seabass Finn. Seabass Finn was impressive in his showing here. He's a local from the Lowell, Massachusetts area. Matt Vandergriff, it does seem like this is a part of his character, but it really seemed like he was bored out there, and that he needs to be doing more. So, did you get to see the kickoff match?
I watched it afterwards. Yeah. Again, it was fine. It was. I don't know. I don't get the same connect from these New Japan Strong pre-shows as I do from the New Japan ones. Maybe because I don't know these two guys that much, and like you said, there's like an edge of like, were they bothered? Should I be bothered? Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to get me if I don't know who you are. Like, for example, speak about later, the women's match. I'm not too aware of the Stardom wrestlers, but they made like I won't go out and pay for it because I don't have the time or anything effort for that. But I want to go and see more of their matches. But this I was like, it's pre-show, isn't it?
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. That's a great explanation. But we got on the main card though. We kicked off with the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion David Finlay going one-on-one with Kevin the Jet Knight. This was a nice little power versus speed matchup with Kevin the Jet Knight keeping Finlay on his back foot, getting a couple of close near falls, but in the end, Finlay hits the overkill to get the 1-2-3. I thought this was a fine way to kick off the show. Finlay showing that he is the heavyweight in this situation against the junior heavyweight, despite both being champions currently on the IWGP side. But it's David Finlay. I think that we all expected him to win this one going into Wrestle Kingdom, where he will face Yota Tsuji. That was made official just this past week as well. But Sonal, what did you think about Finlay versus Knight to kick things off on the main card? You're muted.
I always do this. I always like you're like, Sonal, you're muted. There was a lot of heavyweight versus junior matches on this. I quite like that. I like that about the Japan Strong. The matches up was fine. We praised Kevin Knight endlessly, like when he was in the best Super Junior title. We just praised him. My thing is, was there a reason for this? And I guess I know like War Dog's a thing, but if you think about it, and we've said this before, he's New Japan Dojo, LA Dojo. What have the rest of the LA Dojo guys done? Gone to War Dogs. I'm not pushing anything here. I'm not pushing an agenda, but there has to be some reasoning behind this. There has to be.
I mean, I'm hoping there is, and it's been a couple of shows in a row where we've had this kind of dynamic of Kevin the Jet Knight versus the Bullet Club War Dogs, and there's also, Vandergriff. I think, he just needs something. He needs to get involved into the main New Japan Strong storylines and on the main card at this point, because I think he's now 8-0 in those Strong Survivor matches, but. Yeah, I like Kevin the Jet Knight and David Finlay going at it. They got nice chemistry with one another. They faced each other a bunch of times in these multi-man tag team matches as well. So they had good chemistry.
Also, again, and we're going to say this because Jay News isn't here, Finlay is doing a very good job as a heel at the moment. Like, we're saying this because Jay News, despite everything, is still David Finlay's biggest hater.
Hey, at least he's consistent. I gotta give him credit for consistency. I always love a good bit, even when it's over. The overkill.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think Finlay is doing like. I love Finlay from the start, but I'm honest here. I was very hesitant about his heel turn just because at the start it didn't feel like it was Finley. It felt like he was trying to be so many different people.
Yeah.
But now I feel like this is this is who Finley should have always been. Do you know what I mean? Like him with his dogs, as he likes to say.
It's very much like he's accepting that there's going to be fans that view him as the Nepo baby. So he's going to be the obnoxious one who wins and wins. So he keeps proving you wrong. But at the same time, he's still a Nepo baby to all of us.
But and the thing is, right, and this is the big difference between like House of Torture heel and Finley and the War Dogs heel, is that, yeah, okay, Finley might win with like a shillelagh or a bit from Gato, but at the core of it, he's still a really good wrestler. He's still putting on very good matches. Do you know what I mean? Good to great matches, depending on the opponent. So, like, I think after Suzuki Gun disbanded, War Dogs is what we needed. We needed a proper heel faction of good wrestlers.
It's very true. We did, and they are good wrestlers. Like, you've seen what the Bullet Club War Dogs did in the junior heavyweight tag team division. You got Gabe Kidd, who's the NJPW Openweight champion, and always with these New Japan Strong shows, you got some presence of the Bullet Club War Dogs, and a lot of big moments like Clark Connors joining the Bullet Club War Dogs took place on these NJPW Strong shows. So I like the fact that they're a presence in Japan and a presence on these NJPW Strong shows over the last couple of years.
And there was no House of Torture.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a former House of Torture.
I mean, he is elite torture. I don't know. I guess you could say that he's now elite torture. Maybe they should go with him. See, I'm giving you ideas.
Elite Torture, is that his nickname now?
Elite Torture? That sounds like a finisher name.
It sounds like a cool finisher.
Yeah. See? Jack Perry, watch True Hill Heat. I'm giving you ideas right now. Merchandising. Get it. You got next up, you had TMDK, your boys Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols defending the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships against the grizzled young veterans James Drake, Zach Gibson. This was a good kind of matchup of two teams that have been like cohesive units over the last couple of years together over on the UK side of the Indies into New Japan Pro Wrestling for GYV and WWE, AEW, ROH as of late. But here it came down to this bad luck streak that the TMDK is on. They lost the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, and now they lose the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships to GYV. They get the win with Grit Your Teeth, the high-low 1, 2, 3. This was a solid matchup. I think if it got more time, it got just under 10 minutes, it would have been one of the better matches of the night, but they kept it short. And really, like I said, it didn't even come down to, GYV really being the better team than TMDK. It just felt like at times TMDK is just on this bad luck streak. And you saw it coming. It was like a train and you couldn't get off the track.
As heartbroken as I am, because like SP3 pointed out, TMDK are my boys. Ahead of Tag League, I think this was the best move. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe they could have kept the strong belts. Like, I feel like that wouldn't have been too much of an issue. But I think someone said it on social media. They're like, it'd be quite interesting to have like TMDK have like a huge streak of winning in tournaments. So I think that would be the best chance for TMDK to win World Tag League. I also like the idea that they're going to go into this tournament. Shane's just going to be Shane, but like Mikey's going to be really pissed off. And when Mikey gets pissed off, like everyone says, like I know we call Gabe the fucking madman, but when you think of the OG fucking madman, it's Mikey Nichols.
This is true. This is true. I mean, he's the only person who seems obsessed with headbutting Hanare. So
he's the only one brave enough to headbutt Hanare. No one else would dare to do that.
Brave or stupid? I mean, it's subjective.
Stupidly brave.
Yusuf saying, hoping that Sonal is right about Kevin Knight to War Dogs just to see Jay News reactions. Yes,
Yeah.
You got to watch the preview because we got his reaction to Sonata
Oh, did you?
joining up with David Finlay. So he wasn't happy. That's all I can say.
And anything to do with David Finlay, J News is not happy. It's not a happy.
He says this is a step back for Sonata, but
To
hey,
be
he's
fair,
got blonde hair back.
Say is a step back for Sonata because since he lost the title, he's actually not done anything. And I'm saying that
Nothing
as
at
a
all.
Sonata fan.
He's just lost to whoever was the champion for the last couple of months basically since January 4th. Next you had Lio Rush going one-on-one with Mustafa Ali. These two men have history with one another, with Ali 1-0 against Lio Rush, but this time it was Lio Rush using his speed, using his agility, getting Mustafa Ali on the back foot. These guys had some gnarly moves in this matchup. At one point, Mustafa Ali hits a running power bomb, and it looks like Lio Rush basically lands on his head. You got nice submissions, nice counter work between the two, like Mustafa Ali breaking up Lio Rush's spring back stunner by drop kicking him in the back of the head. But it was Lio Rush with a pair of the frog splashes, the final hour to get the 1-2-3. This was kind of like the all action sprint that I like from these two guys. I gave it 3 3/4 stars, so pretty good really good matchup here, actually. So what did you think about this one? And what do you think about Lio Rush picking up the win against Mustafa Ali this time?
So conversely, this is one of my favorite matches actually of the show. At the start, I thought, because I knew it was quite low, I wished it had got more time. However, obviously basing it off storyline, because obviously on the last match they had Mustafa Ali beat Lio Rush in, was it 6 minutes?
True. Yeah,
so I think it works better. And again, as someone who's a huge fan of junior heavyweight wrestling, like I said, this was perfect. It was everything. Even the way Leo came out, obviously it was very dramatic, very different from who Mustafa Ali faced in the past. And as I watched, because I used to love Mustafa Ali when I used to watch 205 Live, because I was the biggest 205 Live fan. The fact that he's doing these more New Japan Strong shows, and obviously after the huge tease about Best of Super Junior, I just need to see Ali in New Japan, in Japan now. Don't make me wait.
Please. I think we'll at least get him for Best of Super Juniors,
and get Leo as well. Let's take Leo as well.
Hey, you got to talk to Tony Khan. You got to make your deal with Tony Khan.
I still think Tony Khan probably hates me because I've said for years that I hate him. So I feel like we're not on the best of footings here for me to be the ones to make demands.
Well, to see how you ruined that one. Next up, you had Dirty Work for Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler going up against the team of Royce Isaacs, Jarrell Nelson, West Coast Wrecking Crew. These two teams have been going at it for months now, Sonal, on these NJPW Strong shows. And this time they had a 3 stages of Strong matchup, which the first stage saw them in a tables matchup with Dirty Work getting the win, with Tom Lawler hitting a running forearm to a down Jarrell Nelson through a table. Then the second fall was a submission match. You would think that Tom Lawler, the former MMA fighter, and Fred Rosser with his signature Cobra clutch would have got the win there. But no, due to them busting open Fred Rosser. Oh my God, what a blade drop. I think that's the most blood I think I've seen in a New Japan matchup in quite some time. They busted him open. It felt like hard way because they hit him over the head with something a few times, and he was just busted open coming up from the floor. And it was kind of over for the second fall here. They lock him up in a rear naked choke. He passes out for the West Coast Wrecking Crew to get the second fall. And then the third and final fall was a last man standing strap match. So it took them a while to get everybody strapped up. That's no pun intended. But eventually it was the West Coast Wrecking Crew with a spike power driver through a chair on Fred Rosser to get them the win in the last man standing match. after they took out Tom Lawler with a cutter off the middle rope through a table to the outside. Post-match, you had the West Coast Wrecking Crew challenging the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions, the Grizzled Young Veterans, for a shot at the titles as Strong Style Evolve coming up in December. So, Sonal, I know you didn't watch the matchup, but what do you think about it? Was 3 stages of Strong, so 3 different type of matches, got plenty of time. I think that this is like one of the lowest rated New Japan Strong matches over on Cage Match. Not a lot of people seem like they like it. I thought it was I was like, in a vacuum, this is a really good plunder matchup, really good bloody, violent. You're getting over the grudge. If I'd never seen New Japan Strong ever, but because I've watched this and I've watched how long this has gone on for like 6-7 months, so long. Even then, it did not feel necessary for that type of blood and stuff like that. So it just felt like unnecessary violence to me at the end. No offense to the guys. They worked hard in this one. I gave it 3.25 stars, but I wasn't as enthused.
That's a nice rating, because I put, when I posted my review, I was like, let me know in the comments if it's worth watching, and everyone was like, no. This is my problem. You said it. I've watched every New Japan Strong show, and every show they have a match, and it just like I know New Japan like doing long feuds, but in Japan I don't think they've ever done anything for this one with the same match, because it's not like they do a 6-man tag or singles. It's literally been tag match after tag match after tag match after tag match,
and then they did a match with 3 matches in it.
like I don't get, like, again, like you said, no hate to the guys. Especially like Fred Rosser. I love Fred Rosser. But I mean, I hope that this is done now that they've challenged Grizzle Young Vets. I just hope that now we never have to see them in a match together again, at least for like another 5 years. Because I've had it like, no, we don't need it. And like you said, why did they need to have this many different matches with like blood and like, it wasn't needed. And I think it was like it was the longest match, obviously longest 3 matches. And it took up
like the actual match time was like, I think it was like 15 minutes, 30 seconds. But the whole segment, the whole thing was like a half an hour.
And that's like insane, because they probably had to set up for each bloody match, didn't they? Bloody, no pun intended again. They had to set up for every bloody match that there was. Like, I guess they were trying something new. I don't really need to see it again. We don't need this kind of match, because like you said, it just takes too long to set up.
And you should only do these type of matches for either main event programs or between people that you actually have long-term plans with, because someone's going to get over. Do I think now with this win, the West Coast Wrecking Crew are going to beat the Grizzled Young Veterans? No. If TMDK had retained, maybe I'm thinking, oh, they're going to put the titles on West Coast Wrecking Crew, but you just put it on GYV. Why would you take it off of them now? I
think my problem is, and like you said, like main event, it's got to be between people who people are invested in. No offense to the guys, but if you had it between like, I don't know, like Shingo Takagi and Tetsuya Naito against like Zack Sabre Jr., do you know what I mean? Like big stars, then it's fine. And also like not USB3, but New Japan have like drawn it out so much, like. And the thing is, it shouldn't even be that bad, because it's not like in New Japan where there are road 2 shows. So, when was it at the start of the year? It was LIJ versus Just 5 Guys for like.
Yeah, for like show after show, and it got boring after a while. So I think that was before the second. Did they do Sonata and Naito 2 times or 3 times? Felt like 3 times, but it was 2. I think it was 2 times. I think it was Wrestle Kingdom and then one of the New Beginning shows, right?
And that's the thing. That you understand because it's consecutive. But you're not going to tell me that they have like, well, I don't even know how many matches, over like 7 months, and I'm still bored. Like, they've given me gaps. But I was still like, I saw it on the card, and I was like, if it's maybe 1 match, could have got. So 2 out of 3, 4, like 2, and I was like, no, I'm not even going to try with this. I'm not invested in the story. So I'm definitely not going to waste, as you said, over half an hour of our time.
I totally understand. I totally understand. I think as I was trying to watch it live and I had to pause it to deal with family stuff, and I came back and I was like, nah, I don't know if I'm gonna watch all this. So I just pressed live. And then when I went back and watched it, I was like, man, they took a half an hour. But then when I look up the match time on like all these different websites, it's like 15 and a half minutes. I was like, no, it's not. It's like a half an hour.
That's the thing, like, we're not used to it because with New Japan, like, obviously you have other promotions that do these kind of matches and are used to the long times setting it up. It's almost non-existent in New Japan. Like you said, if they had these kind of matches, they take a few minutes to set it up. But again, it's at the main event normally, so you don't have to wait there while they clean everything up.
And beware, Big Man Dog has a good point. He says you devalue stipulation matches when you have cold people do it poorly. Yes.
SP3, you watched it. What was the crowd's reaction? Because obviously we know, like, cage match, people who were watching it weren't fan. But like, again, I think this kind of match needs a lot of investment from the crowds. And if I'm not invested,
well, like you said, you were 100% right when you were talking about the crowd. It did not look like a good crowd. Even when New Japan does their shows and it's all dark for the fans because they don't have that many people in a big building, it's still like when they do Capital Collision in Washington, D.C. the last couple of years, it hasn't looked like a packed house. So they darken up the crowd. This one, they had good lights and you could see all the people not sitting in chairs. That even on the stage, they had like some that sitting in the stage.
Alleyway, there was like massive gaps. And the thing is, right, I say this, like, I know America has more shows than we do, right? But I think so. I think, was it last year's Royal Quest? This year's Royal Quest didn't sell out either. But again, it was pretty. You were there, SP. It's pretty packed out. But with like, I've done loads of independent shows here in the UK, which are like tiny, probably the same amount of people as was at this show. But the energy is normally up. This crowd seemed kind of dead. They just seemed like they didn't care. There's a few kids having like high fives on the entrances, but aside from that, like, and again, I don't know why. I guess the matches weren't strong enough to draw a huge crowd, but like, I don't know what's the wrestling scene like in Lowell, but I don't know. It just felt like this match, if it was not the greatest, it needed some crowd investment, and if that's not there, then generally it was never going to work.
Yeah, I don't know if they went about this the best way. Like, if you're even like, they have we're going to talk about the surprise appearance that they had in the next matchup. I would have promoted Mercedes Moné on a show in Massachusetts. I mean,
that would have got you a few more people to come there.
Why are we doing it's nice. We could do a 4-way to set up something, but like,
and then promote Mercedes, have Mercedes on commentary. You could have been like, Mercedes on commentary for the match. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's interesting because I know with the amount of New Japan shows America has, they're not all going to sell out. Like, hell, in the UK, it doesn't sell out often because like times are tough and things. But I don't think I've ever seen a crowd this small and this dead for a New Japan in America. And I don't know whether it's the lineup, because technically, like, it wasn't awful. Like, you had Takeshita, Shingo, like, again, like we said, it's not one of the top ones, but it's a decent to get turnout. But why? Was it the area? Did they just pick the wrong venue? Was it too expensive? If anybody knows anyone who was there or went there, please tell me why.
Yeah.
And also, why were they all so miserable? They just didn't sound like they were into anything.
They were mad because they didn't tell them Mercedes Moné would be there.
Maybe.
But speaking of which, Mercedes, before our next match, called out the women in the upcoming 4-way matchup between Anna Jay, Hazuki, Koguma, and Trish Adora. This was a nice kind of blend of AEW, ROH, and Stardom talent in one matchup. Everyone at the beginning tries to team up on Hazuki, trying to take her down a peg, but it's Hazuki who fights back. She comes back, and she eventually is the one who picks up the victory with a Marty Scurll cradle on Trish Adora for the 1-2-3. Post-match, we get a surprise appearance by NJPW Strong Women's Champion, TBS Champion, Mercedes Moné, she comes out and she challenges Hazuki for a matchup for the NJPW Strong Women's Championship coming up at Strong Style Evolved in December. Hazuki, of course, accepts this, but it leads to a little fight between them with Mercedes Moné hitting a backstabber and standing tall over an exhausted Hazuki. But nice surprise appearance by Mercedes Moné. Nice effort by the ladies here. I thought it was a fine matchup. I gave it three stars. What did you think?
I really like this. Like, I mentioned earlier, like I didn't know. I know of Anna Jay. I know about Trish Adora. I don't know really much about the Stardom wrestlers, but this made me excited. Like I liked the fun at the start. They were like, I like that even though it was a fatal 4-way, they knew that sometimes the best way is to work with somebody that you know, to try and weaken your opponent to make it work. There was a nice mix of, because they all have such different styles. The Stardom wrestlers were very fast. Trish Adora, hell, she is strong. You know, very powerhouse, and I love that. And I think we've always said this with New Japan, and I think it just works. Sometimes multi-person matches don't work, but this worked because the wrestlers allowed it to work. Do you know what I mean? They did. It wasn't like 4 wrestlers just, you know, like trying to wrestle each other in a singles match. It was literally a 4-way with them all interacting, and I think it was good. And I'm excited for the match. It was nice having Mercedes come out and be like, yeah, we're challenging. And it's one of the things I like about whether it's like Royal Quest or these New Japan Strong shows is that they have the women in it. Like, I know people say, oh, New Japan need women. In Japan, you don't need that because they have enough women's promotions. Go out and watch Stardom. Go and watch Tokyo Joshi. There's so much more. But it is nice for crowds in America to be able to watch, like, when at Royal Quest, it was so great to have Azumi and Mina in a match with British stars, so with stars that you recognize. So yeah, keep bringing us matches. I mean, it would be nice maybe for one day for them to have more women's matches, but I think for now it works. Do you know what I mean? At least having one on every show.
No, I agree with you. They should like continue with the women on the show because there always are a nice highlight. Like I love the Azumi versus I think Stephanie Vicaire matchup that was on one of the New Japan Strong shows this year. So yeah, they always have a good effort, and this was another example of that. And I'm looking forward to Hazuki versus Mercedes Moné. I thought Hazuki would get the win because that seems like the person that Mercedes might be like, yeah, I want to face her because she kind of came in and she wanted to face Azumi, and then they put her in the 3-way with Hazuki. So I think that she gained some chemistry within that 3-way matchup at Sakura Genesis last year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be fast, furious, and it's going to be do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to put one women's match on, give us something interesting. Like, this was fun, but it was also good wrestling, and there was nice storytelling. Like, this is what we want. But this could have got more time than the bloody 2 out of 3 falls match that went for 30 minutes, and actually there was only like 15 minutes of wrestling.
That is true. I would have went higher on that matchup if they if the ladies got more time because of 30 minutes of Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler versus the West Coast roster.
Similar to Ali and Rush, albeit it made sense for that story. Give them take 4 or 5 minutes out of that bloody 2 out of 3 falls, 30 minutes, 15-minute match, and give it to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna just New Japan. Don't do that again. We don't need to see it again. We don't need to see these 2 teams together. We don't see another 2 out of 3 falls match that is 30 minutes, but actually only 15 minutes of wrestling.
You heard her. You heard her, New Japan. Don't play. But next up, we had another one of your favorites, my favorites too. Shingo Takagi and Yota Tsuji, Los Ingonables de Japón versus the Undisputed Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett from the Massachusetts area, kind of the local talent, despite being on, AEW, ROH, former champions over in Ring of Honor as well, but a lot of hometown support in Lowell, Massachusetts. But it did not help them in the long run here after Shingo hits the the pumping bomber. You get Tsuji following up with the Gene Blaster on Mike Bennett to get the 1-2-3. This was a pretty fun tag team matchup here. This is another one I gave 3 stars to. But post-match was the more that had the ramifications, the storylines that me and Sonal were talking about earlier, as a mystery vignette plays, and after the arena darkens and it lights up, you see Tsuji's picture being put down, and then when the lights come back on, it is Jack Perry, the member of the House of Torture, the member of the Elite, the scapegoat. He hits Tsuji with the glass jaw knee strike, and he stands tall over him. He then gets on the mic and he makes a challenge to Yota Tsuji. He says that his date has been made clear, and he's challenging Yota Tsuji to face him at the Tokyo Dome, January 5th, Wrestle Dynasty, 1-on-1. He went to hit him with another glass jaw knee strike when Shingo Takagi came back out to make the save for his LIJ member here, but that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting Jack Perry to show up. Jack Perry to challenge Yota Tsuji. He was responsible for when we had hope for Shota Umino earlier this year when he beat Jack Perry at what was that, Windy City Riot. That we had hope for both of those guys. We thought both of those guys could use that as to propel them to bigger and better things. Jack Perry is now the TNT champion. And you got Shota Umino. He's in the Tokyo Dome.
Getting booed.
He's in the Tokyo Dome main event. But now we're going to see if Yota Tsuji can benefit from the Jack Perry rub. What do you think about that matchup? What did you think about the tag team matchup here?
It was a good tag team match. Like, obviously, even before AEW, I know about the Kingdom and stuff. But I think for me, the big thing was we've got World Tag League coming up. And New Japan have answered my prayers because they have given me Shingo versus Tsuji as a team. So this was nice sort of seeing their interactions, like how they work as a team. Obviously, we know Los Ingobernables, they have partner always works amazing together, but this is going to be great. The Jack Perry thing is interesting because if you think about it, obviously it's very different in the sense that like dojo, not dojo, but they're around. I mean, Tsuji's probably a bit older, but you know what I mean? The same age, same amount of time. So I think it's going to be interesting. And yeah, no, it's very fun to see how different the careers have gone of Jack Perry and then showed. Because the thing is, right, you brought that match up. That was the match where we all were like, okay, Jack Perry, you can stay in House of Torture. We can get someone who does matches. And then he was like, bye. And I was like, oh. What was the point then?
It was to get him on the right path in AEW.
Yeah, well, subjected me to House of Torture matches, didn't it?
Yeah, so we got to blame Jack Perry. Jack Perry gets the heat for CM Punk leaving AEW, and now he gets the heat for House of Torture sucking.
Literally, but yeah, I mean SP3. I know we might do a preview later on, but Shingo and Tsuji for Tag League. It's what dreams are made of. It's what dreams are made of.
I like it. I like it a lot. This is the World Tag League tag team that I've wanted for so long. But both guys are in big matches at Wrestle Kingdom, so it's like, no, you're not gonna win.
But they're gonna have banger matches. They're
both gonna have great matches on January 4th. Oh, please, yes.
No, I mean in World Tag League.
Oh yeah, in World Tag League, World Tag League too. What block are they in?
A. So with their gate, it's quite interesting. Their gate, it's with like Zack Sabre Jr., Anoiwa, Bishamon, Jeff Cobb, Callum Newman, Shota and Honma. You know, the best team of Shota and Honma. Where that came from, I don't know.
They're gonna have the Tokyo Dome main eventer go in with like a 0-5 tag league record because he's with Honma. Honma's just there to take the pin. That's all that's happening.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense, right? Because I looked at the thing, and obviously Tanahashi and Jado make sense because of ELP. Taichi and Taka make sense because of Sanada. Did they just put Shota in because we don't know where Togi Makabe is? Like Honma's been
so.
pleading to stay in it, and they were like, right, well, we can't have Taguchi because Taguchi's already done Junior, and I don't think he wants to do it again. There's no one else in Hontai. We're just gonna have to push Shota in.
Shota, you get the draw the straw. Who you want? And he picks Honma. Oh, damn. He needs to beat up Honma at the end of World Tag.
Well,
I'm trying to find out any way for Shota Umino to turn heel before Wrestle Kingdom.
This is a spoiler because I've got a preview for World Tag League coming up. But I think that this has to be literally the only reason that they are doing Shota and Honma is because by the end he's going to get so pissed off that he's just going to punch Honma in the face, and that's his heel turn.
He needs to choke him out with a bag. He needs to beat him up, and then he starts Death Riders of Japan.
That's the only way I'll accept this team of Shota and Honma. Because, like, aside from that, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, he has to beat him up. He has to be ruthless. He has to find his edge here. But
yeah.
watch him beat ZSJ and Oiwa.
Honma gets the pin over Oiwa.
Oh no! Please don't do that.
Well, I mean, they won't.
I'm not signing up. I'm not signing off on that.
But they won't do that because Oiwa's got a match at Wrestle Kingdom as well. It's him, Cobb, and Narita, which we hope he's gonna win. And he won't. Well,
please.
The only other thing is if Oiwa doesn't win, the only thing I will accept is Jeff Cobb because I love Jeff Cobb so much, and I kind of feel offended for Jeff Cobb that he's in this match. Yeah.
We got Yusuf who says Suji and Shingo versus Sanada and Gabe will be great.
I knew there was another team in there. I think that Sanada and Gabe are just going to be so funny because I think it was meant to be Gabe and Jake Lee, but I love. Yeah.
Gabe basically confirmed that in my interview with him. You could check that out. That's on.
Go and watch.
The takedown on SI YouTube channel. I did that for Sports Illustrated.
And that's he's done that, not here, because this channel is cursed.
See, I thought about that too. I was like, I shouldn't do it for True Hill. He should do it for Sports Illustrated. So,
But it was interesting because Sanada is really cool, calm, and collected, and Gabe is a fucking madman. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that dynamic works.
They're the calm bastards.
I think they need a better name. I've been trying to think of one, and I can't think of one.
They just got to be Bullet Club War Dogs for now.
Yeah, just Sanada and Gabe.
Yeah.
Ganada.
But it's two guys who have been very successful in tag team action over the last couple of years because Gabe and Alex Coughlin, they were NJPW strong openweight tag team champions. You had Gabe and Jake Lee. They got that instant chemistry together. And now he's with Sanada, who's most famous with his tag team with Evil, but he's worked well with Naito in the past. They won tag team titles. So, yeah.
Someone said, I saw someone on the internet saying, I can't remember if it was in my comments or on social media, that Sanada should have gone to House of Torture so he could team with Evil and because it would have history. No, I don't give a shit if they have 30 years of history. In what world would you subject Sanada to House of Torture? Like, whoever said this obviously doesn't care for Sanada. Because who would ever say that would be better?
I don't want to see Sanada not wrestle on purpose.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like Kanemaru. I miss seeing Kanemaru. Show is the biggest one. I miss Show wrestling. So, like, Roppongi 3K Show was future champion, future ace of the division. This guy got beaten in 6 seconds by Doki. Was it 6? It might have been a bit longer. It was probably the shortest.
I think it was 8 seconds. I think it was
it's like the shortest ever IWGP Junior match ever. Probably the shortest ever title match ever.
Yeah. So. That's that guy. That guy that used to wrestle well. That used to be future ace of the juniors, and now
he was the gold standard, wasn't he? Because Yo was the silver standard of professional wrestling, and Show was the gold because he had the gold jacket and everything. And I still have my Roppongi 3K t-shirt in the hopes that he will see the light. It's not gonna happen, but
it's like one day I'm gonna bust that out.
Yeah, one day we're gonna see something proper.
We got Big Man Dogs and says scapegoat Jack Perry might be too much for Suji to handle.
Not the big Suge, not the big Suge.
He's gonna get Gene Blast on January 5th, guys. Yusuf says Sonata got a new hairstyle and theme on the November 9th New Japan Road. So yeah, I did see the blonde hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mum was extremely heartbroken by that.
He's much more handsome with the black hair.
She looked like, so she was always like a massive oak. She's like, Okada's the most handsome wrestler in New Japan. And then when Sanada cut his hair and like dyed it black, she was like, oh wow, why did he ever have that stupid blonde hair with a shitty beard? So then obviously she was like, oh Sanada, and then I showed it to her and she went, he's not growing that goddamn beard back, is he? And I was like, I don't even know. I really hope not. Because the blonde, I can deal with the blonde. The blonde, it's not great, but it's not awful. If that beard comes back, I can't cope with that. That's too much for my brain.
You're like, that's when he's crossing the line.
That's the cop. I divorced him, but like I will actually have to divorce him this time because that beard was a no-go. You know when he had it where his beard was the same length as his mohawk?
Oh yeah, that was really bad.
Do you know what I mean? It's worst hairstyle in New Japan history. That's saying something.
Yeah, that's saying a lot because there's been some really bad ones.
Uh-huh.
All right, but fair. Next up, we had a Noah Dream match as you had Roye Uyoa going one-on-one with Kenta. These two men are known for their Noah runs. Well, not really. I'm just joking. Uyoa had the short excursion in Noah, but he's been compared to Kenta Kobashi, who is the trainer and teacher of Kenta. And Kenta thought that his veteran wiles would be able to get the advantage on Uyoa, but Uyoa wouldn't be stopped. He hit a doctor bomb, but he couldn't get the victory on that. But eventually he gets the win with a small package counter to Kenta to get the 1-2-3. Kenta attacks him after the match, but Uyoa is able to fight back and stand tall as he picks up the win here. Big win for Uyoa. I think this would have to be his biggest win yet since coming back from excursion in Noah in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So getting the win over Kenta here, which would set him up for a big title match. Not only what he's expecting coming up at NJPW's Wrestle Kingdom for the TV title, now he's got some other gold in his sights, but we'll get to that later. What did you think about Uyoa?
It's not gold. He's got a fucking madman in his future.
This is true, and it's silver. But no, I enjoyed this one. This was another 5 matchup. I gave 3 stars to Uyoa. Hard hitting always. I like him trying to always go for the grip, but he's never able to hit it because he's too worried about doing the sleeper for too long. But Kenta and him, they worked well with each other, but Kenta's just a lot slower than he used to be.
To be fair, it's probably one of Kenta's better matches that I've watched in a while. Because I think commentary even brought it up. And again, shout out to Walker and Vader. I always love hearing their commentary. They're great. It's always nice having a female voice on commentary. So shout out to them. They literally brought that it takes a certain person to bring the fire out of Kenta. Bring the fire, you bring out good wrestling out of Kenta. And Uyoa managed to do that. And it was probably, again, commentary did a really good thing of linking to this, like Kenta Kobashi, Noah, and everything just came together. And again, yeah, Uyoa's biggest win of his career, and I'm excited. I've watched, obviously, we saw him at Royal Quest. He has been doing some great stuff. And you know what? I think out of all the young lions, I think everyone always puts the emphasis on the I was gonna say I got confused. The Musketeers.
Rewa.
The Rewa. I was gonna say Ryo. I was saying Uyoa's name. I was like, that's confusing me. The Musketeers, but guys like Fujita and Uyoa are really showing up, and Fujita's doing amazing in the junior division. Obviously, just won tag league as Ichiban Sweet Boys. Uyoa's style is really, really good. It's very unique, but similarly with Fujita, with Zack Sabre Jr. getting under his tutelage, you can see he's getting even better. He's learning. He's becoming more of a diverse, well-rounded wrestler. But I mean, the mullet's still questionable for me. The mullet's still questionable, but his wrestling is great.
Yes, His choice in hair might be questionable, but his wrestling is not.
Wrestling is questionable.
He's Roy the Mullet, though. He would ruin his nickname in TMDK.
I get it. I get it. You know what? Normally, I don't like nicknames. I didn't like the Shooter nickname, but for some reason, when Zach made this, I was like, you know what? Fair enough. I get you got Big Fuge on one side, then you got Roy the Mullet. I'll accept it. I won't call him that, but I accept that nickname.
You don't want to call him Roy the Mullet? Come on, why not?
Roy is such an old, like, for anyone who like is from the UK, Roy is like a really old person's name. There's a guy in Coronation Street, which is like a really long like series here, and Roy is like he's 70, 80 years old. It's just an old name.
It is. Yusuf says we also got Alex Zane and his mystery partner in World Tag League, probably Minoru Suzuki in A block. It's 8 teams in each block, 16 overall. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting shout for Minoru Suzuki to team up with Alex Zane.
I was sad though because I love Alex Zane and Lance Archer, but I know Lance Archer's doing any with the Don Callis family now.
Yes, he's teaming up with Brian Cage in the Don Callis family.
But I did like Alex Zane and Lance Archer. That was a great team. Was it Monster Sauce?
Yes.
That was such a good team.
We got a prediction here. We got Alex Powell who says Oyoa versus Yuya for NJPW Cup Finals.
I mean, I'd like that, but we've not been told any time frame of Uemura's return. So, yeah.
Once he comes back, then we can do those predictions.
Yeah. Then we can say Yuya is going to... Because that's the thing, right? Yuya was on a massive upward streak, you know, like alongside Tsuji. But now with Yuya not there, this is a perfect chance for Oiwa to really push himself up. Do you know what I mean? To not replace him, but to be that new guy who's getting catapulted to the top.
And I think he is. Like, he's in the position. I think that Tsuji probably would have won the NJPW World Television Championship if Yuya didn't get injured in the G1.
Oh, no,
I think it would be Yuya versus David Finlay for the Global Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom.
And it was sort of like a panic that they have to have a new guy do it. And it was, you would have had it where Tsuji would have won the TV title and then Yuya would have won that, and then they could probably restart their dojo feud, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I think they wanted to have all the new guys kind of win gold or go after gold. I think they could set it up where all the new guys win gold except for Shooter.
And then Shooter gets really pissed off because if you think about it, they all have in some way. Like Narita's has won 2 sets of titles. He won the never 6-man tag, and then obviously the television champion. Fujita has got tag league. Tsuji's basically been going after everything, and crowds are obsessed with him. And then just poor Shooter, just there carrying babies and not kidnapping them, which is good, but people are still booing him.
They're still booing you, dog. And you're not the one who won the title. You gotta have Tsuji with the global title, Uyoa with the television championship, Fujita with the junior heavyweight tag team titles. So yeah, I don't know who else I'm missing. Brent Narita had the TV title already, so
we keep leading into everything as poor Shooter.
Poor Shooter.
Poor Shooter who's gonna end up punching Honor in the face.
We got Big Man Dog says Uyoa looks like Kenta Kobashi mixed with a K-pop idol.
You know what? Right? This is not a lie, right? Because the thing is, Fujita doesn't, because Fujita's got like a beard, right? But Oiwa does have the look. He's quite tall. He has the weird. There is actually a lot of idols. I say I don't like the mullet. There's a lot of idols who have had, like, we call it like an Oreo mullet, because obviously it's like the 2 different colors. So you know what, Big Man Dog's eye, he does look like Kenta Kobashi mixed with a K-pop idol. Whether he can sing and dance, that's a different thing. Maybe that's a special talent he has hidden.
Maybe he hasn't even discovered it himself yet.
Yeah. You know, I always said, because remember, like, when Roppongi 3K were a thing, and they would always post pictures of, like, them, like, singing and playing drums. I think it was Show on the drums and Yo singing. And I was like, because you know, like Tokyo Joshi, they have like the idol thing. I always thought it'd be cool if New Japan had their own like band.
I would like
Gato,
that.
if you're watching, do that.
See, we're coming up with marketing ideas for you. Come on, you gotta listen to us, Gato.
Think about it, like, idols are huge in Japan as well, like not just Korea. So if you have this idol group, like with wrestlers, like the young wrestlers, I don't know, it doesn't even have to be young. Like you have like guys like Jeff Cobb, I don't know, have them. Then like after shows and stuff, you have like concerts and stuff. You'll earn more merchandise. I can design said merchandise. You know, I know everything about idol merchandise. And then you get more money. And then you have like after parties and stuff. Like it just works.
We just came up with the idea for you. All you have to do is follow the roadmap we just gave you. It just works.
Just find the wrestlers who can do it. Who can dance and sing.
We got you. We got Alex Powell who says Yuya would be someone to dethrone Takeshita for the Never title or give it to Uyoa.
Don't assume that Shingo will lose. Don't assume.
I mean, Takeshita's a bad man. I think Takeshita might be trying to go for a triple crown by the time we get to Wrestle Kingdom. I'll talk about that when we get there. I
won't be unhappy about that. I won't be unhappy.
Next up, we had tag team action. TMDK, represented by the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Zack Sabre Jr., teaming up with Bad Dude Tito to verse Shota Umino and Tomohiro Ishii. We got Sabre and Umino. Umino going at it. They locked up with the TMDK frontman, benefiting from his technical style. We got Umino, who went for more of the grounded style, but hard hitting Sabre Jr. as hard as he can, trying to hit big, impactful moves early on, but Sabre Jr. getting out of the way early. When we get Ishii and Tito, the fans wanted them to get in against each other, and they did not disappoint. They started ramming each other, shoulder blocks into each other. Nice hard-hitting exchanges by them. Then you get the juxtaposition with Sabre Jr. and Shooter, which had nice little crisp reversals and counters to one another. You got some mixing up of Umino in there against Tito, as well as Ishii going at it with Zack Sabre Jr. In the end, though, it came down to Shooter and Bad Dude Tito. He gets the lariat from Ishii, and then Umino hits the tornado DDT into the Death Rider for the 1-2-3. Shooter getting a big victory here, but on commentary, they talked about it a lot, that Umino is not only got his sights set on the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom, he also wants to face Jon Moxley at Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th. And he wants to walk out of the Tokyo Dome with both the AEW World Championship and the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. But Jon Moxley answers that challenge post-match, and he announces his disappointment of Shota Umino, while vowing to make him the champion he always wanted Umino to be. And he says that he can reveal that he's going to be sending an emissary for Umino to face at Wrestle Dynasty. Umino agreed. He says he doesn't care. Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac. Fucking, I don't care. Fuck you, Jon Moxley. That was the best promo work of Shota Umino's English run here in the U.S. I really enjoyed this. This showed a little bit more personality than we're used to from Shota Umino. So good stuff there, but it will be Shooter going one-on-one with Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship coming up on January 4th against Zack Sabre Jr. at Wrestle Kingdom 19. And now it seems that he's going to face a member of the Death Riders on Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th. So he's got his Tokyo Dome weekend booked up already. What did you think about the tag team matchup and the post-match here with Jon Moxley saying he's sending an emissary for Shota Umino coming up at Wrestle Dynasty? And what do you think about Shooter's response?
First thing, I feel really embarrassed because on my review I said John Moxley was sending a missionary because I couldn't remember the word. So now I sound like a right idiot. I was like, and then John Moxley said he was sending a missionary or something. I was like, doesn't sound right, but it sounds right.
You got the you got the RY right.
I think that's literally what I heard. I was like, is it Surrey? But what word do I know? I know missionary. Right. Well, so that's a big one. No, I'm surprised no one called me out on it in the comments. So you know, I got away with it. I blagged my way through it.
Hey, you got away with it. You got it because they was like, man, I didn't know what he said either.
Oh, right. So, yeah, the match itself was good. They're really building up to. Yeah, you did enter the chat at the right time. Me getting very embarrassed because I thought John Moxley was sending a missionary, which would be a very different thing. But I think would low key work for like John Moxley's storyline. I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of thing he'd do.
He's gonna send a bunch of nuns, a missionary.
Send the missionaries to preach to Shota that he's doing it wrong. But yeah, the match itself was good. They're gonna start doing more of these preview matches between Shota and Zack, and it's nice to have Ishii in it and Bad Dude Tito, who is great. I always love seeing Bad Dude Tito. You're right when you said that Shota slowly, and like this one we saw, his promos are getting slightly better in English. We're seeing like, I think the past few times he's just tried to focus on like swear words and stuff, which like to an extent is good, but it's just funny. But like, I don't know if it's funny in a good way. Do you know, like it's funny when you like to see a child swear, it's like, that's quite funny actually. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I find that there's certain people who don't suit swearing, and Shota for me, like it feels off. Like for example, when like Zack does it, it's just like it's used to it. But it's getting me excited to see what we could do because it all depends on what Shota's storyline is going forward. If he turns heel, then this will almost change the essence of that match. Do you know what I mean? In some way.
Yeah.
But if he stays good, but then loses, is like, does he go into Wrestle Dynasty still a good guy, but then something snaps? Like he loses that match on the 5th as well, and then like you have Moxley come out and like come with us, and then like boom, heel turn. I don't know if it'd be worth waiting that long to turn him heel. I feel like that'd be to his detriment.
Well, I think he's gonna have to be the heel come January 4th, regardless of him.
But is he gonna that's the thing, is it gonna be voluntary or involuntary? I feel like it's gonna be involuntary.
If you accept that it's gonna happen, then it's not involuntary. Like if you accept that that's what's gonna happen, he can do the handshake and the babies.
He's still gonna carry a baby out while people are booing him. He should just take a baby and just run off. Run out of the Tokyo Dome, like, yeah.
No, he's gonna give the kids the bracelets and stuff like that. Your kids love me. Like that's what he needs to. He needs to fully embrace that he is not liked, but he still needs to be himself and still do everything he's doing as a babyface. I think it comes off even better as a heel.
He should push it. He should push it. As he's so delusional that I think I've said this before. He's so delusional. He thinks that everyone still loves him. He can't hear the boos. So he's still out there shaking, and the boos are coming, and he's like, yeah, they're cheering for me. And then he snaps.
He finally hears him. He finally hears the boos.
Halfway through the match. And then he starts kind of kills Zack Sabre Jr. I don't know, with a fork or something. Spork, I don't know. Spork sounds like more Shota thing.
Yeah, spork. He's going to have a spork out there. But let's talk about the semi-main event for Fighting Spirit Unleashed. You had Konosuke Takeshita defending the AEW International Championship against TJP. And this was not just regular TJP. This was the Aswang TJP, the mystical beast. I don't know what he tries to call it. I don't know. I don't get it. But hey, It was fun against Takeshita here. He takes advantage of his blinded foe after the red mist is spewed into Takeshita's face. He gets him off balance, but Takeshita eventually uses his strength to get back into control. He captures TJP after one of many aerial moves. Takeshita bends him and contorts the smaller competitor over his knee. We get a tornado DDT from TJP with both men being laid out. We eventually get TJP fighting with Takeshita on the top rope, which leads to Takeshita hitting a avalanche raging fire for the 1-2-3 to pick up the win here, getting the victory over TJP. And what I thought was a good matchup here, I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought these guys worked really well with it. No, 3 3/4 stars. I thought they worked really well with one another here. Takeshita getting yet another win for the International Championship in another promotion like he did before against Josh Alexander from Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. But the post-match is what everybody is talking about, Sonal. As post-match, Konosuke Takeshita gets on the mic, and he says that he's making a challenge for the AEW International Championship, an open challenge to anyone in the back. No one came out after like a minute or so. So he says that everyone was scared. Everyone was a coward. But out came Shingo Takagi. Shingo says that he doesn't just want a AEW International Championship matchup. He was willing to put up his not IWGP, a never open weight championship up against Takeshita's international championship in a winner take all title for title matchup January 4th at Wrestle Kingdom 19. I thought with all the build like we saw with Shooter and what we saw with Jack Perry that we were getting another Wrestle Dynasty match, but they said no. Wrestle Kingdom, and it has been made official. It will be Shingo Takagi defending the never open weight championship against Konosuke Takeshita. And if Takeshita is still the AEW International champion after January or by January 4th, it will be title for title. And then the winner of that match will face the man who came out after the challenge was made between these two. It was Tomohiro Ishii who pointed at both men, and this signaled that we're going to get on January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty, Tomohiro Ishii versing the winner of Shingo versus Takeshita at Wrestle Kingdom. He will face them January 5th at Wrestle Dynasty. Sonal, what do you think? 2 banger matches that you're going to be there live for. January 4th, January 5th, the Tokyo Dome. Never open weight championship on the line for sure. We'll see about the AEW International Championship. But what did you think about Takeshita versus TJP and everything that went down post-match?
All right, let's start. We'll start with the match. We'll quickly go over it. It was a great match. Another heavyweight versus junior. But TJP, I feel like TJP sometimes doesn't get the dues he deserves. Do you know what I mean? Like he's literally just come off like a huge tournament. He's come here. He's had another amazing match. He was phenomenal. Like the Aswan came out, and I like that. I like that it's like he brings out certain times. He knows that Takeshita is very dangerous. But my biggest thing with this match, TJP did not give a shit about the title. This was about something more. This was the Don Callis family and the Empire. Everything that has been going on with Kyle, Donkzilla coming back, welcome back, Donkzilla, and Ospreay. TJP couldn't give a shit if he had that title or not. He wanted to cause pain, and that's why the Aswan came out. And I think we all knew Takeshita was going to win, but I liked it because all the Empire members keep coming back to this. Okan and Hanare have called out Kyle and the Don Callis family. It's very interesting that way. So you had that, and then thank you, Gato. Shingo versus Takeshita, and then like Takeshita or Shingo versus Ishii. Yes.
All of this.
Like that's the thing. I don't have words. Like we all know that when it comes to workhorses who can, it's almost virtually impossible to have a bad match with Shingo or Ishii, unless maybe like it's Evil or Yujiro or somebody in the House of Torture. But even then, it's better than their standard matches. Versus Takeshita, who when I watched him in DDT, he was phenomenal as a pure babyface. When I watched him, I used to compare him to Okada. And now as a heel, he's just got even better. Like at first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like him as a heel. But he's like, he was born to be one. And to see him go up against either Ishii or Shingo, who, while Ishii is silent, he is still a babyface at heart. He still fights. He always fights clean. He fights with determination. And then you've got Shingo. So this is the thing. Like, we were saying about this. We didn't go into the show expecting much. It seemed like a road to show. And then bam, they gave us that. Like, wow, New Japan, thanks. That's great. That's great.
That's what I like to see. If you're gonna have a show that on paper doesn't look that impressive, you gotta have some big moments, and this was a big moment for sure.
It was
immediately.
It's the background to that. It was the background to mine as well. For my thumbnail, do you know what I mean? You need one moment that people go, right, that's going on the thumbnail.
Exactly. And this was the moment for that. But yeah, I agree with Alex Powell here, who says 3 belts Takeshita is the new agenda, because I think that Konosuke Takeshita is the favorite for this year's Continental Classic, or should be a favorite for this year's Continental Classic in AEW. So if he is able to win the Continental Classic, if he's in the Continental Classic, Takeshita could win the AEW Continental Championship, measure it with the International Championship, and then win the Never Openweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. So he's 3 belt Takeshita.
Can you imagine that? That he would be the most powerful man in professional wrestling. He would be the man in professional.
The man. The 2025, the year of Takeshita.
Year of Kosei.
He's already one of the best out there. You just need to crown him.
And he's so young still. We got to remember he's in his 20s still. I believe he's in his 20s.
Yeah, I think he's like 28, 27.
I think he's 1995. I think he's a bit older than me.
Oh, okay.
I always base it around my age because it's just easier. I'm like, I'm still young, guys.
You just aged yourself up. Don't worry. We got I Make Beats. He says, I'm all for it. He's my favorite wrestler. God damn it. I know. I understand. He's one of mine. He's one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is the the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion, the motherfucking madman himself, Gabe Kidd, going up against TMDK's Kosei Fujita. This one has a lot of history with it, being these two men and their background in the No-Gay Dojo, with one being the senior, one being the junior, the senpai that Gabe Kidd was to Fujita. But now you got Fujita, who stepped up to the challenge made by Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd wasted no time in this one, taunting, insulting, disrespecting Fujita. After some brawling, we get brawling on the ringside area, brawling in the ring. A flying Fujita fell loudly from a vertical drop onto the wooden floor. We get you have Gabe Kidd throwing him over the barricade, throwing him across the production tables. He's talking shit to the crowd, making crude references to their mothers. Kidd waited patiently for Fujita to fight back and struggled to his feet. We get some huge chops that were echoing across the arena in this one. This was a hard-hitting affair between these two men. You get Kidd, who was just beating on Fujita, but Fujita would not quit. He kept getting up, hitting big moves. He hits the abandoned hope after multiple attempts to hit it, but Kidd is able to kick out. We get he tries to hit another one, but Kidd is able to knock him out using his weight. Kidd then hits a release powerbomb after powerbomb, eventually resulting in Fujita basically crumbling, and he hits the Madman Bomb for the 1-2-3 to pick up the win here. this was a great match. I thought it was a great main event matchup between these two guys. I love the juxtaposition between, Gabe Kidd, who's this brawler, but he's also uses his strength very well. He has that speed to get you off your footing a bit and hit you with these big clothesline and big impact moves. And then you got Fujita, who's just so hard hitting, so passionate with everything that he does in the ring, and he also can do some high flying as well. So this was a good matchup between these two guys, but it really delivered on the storytelling level. But post-match, you get Gabe Kidd attacking Fujita until Roye Uyowa comes out to make the save for his TMDK stablemate. You get Kenta coming in. He tries to beat up on Uyowa along with Gabe Kidd, but Uyowa was able to fight back and stand tall. And he makes a challenge to Gabe Kidd for Strong Style Evolve coming up in December to face him for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. So it seems like that's the big match. That's going to be the main event for the event coming up, Strong Style Evolve in December. But like I said, great matchup here with Gabe Kidd, really kind of showing his worth as the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion. I asked him about, how it felt to be in the main event finally after being champion for 6 months on this show. And he was very passionate. He's like, it's just another one. He's mad that they put him in there with this young punk, this little punk. He was in full mode. I loved every minute of talking to him. So go over and check that interview. But he has a lot on his mind because I asked him about his focus because we always get that talking point on commentary. And, with everything that went down at Power Struggle with him and Kenny Omega, I was like, I don't know about your focus, what you're focused on. And he's focused on Kenny Omega at Wrestle Dynasty. He kind of made it clear to me that he wants to face Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome. But what did you think about this matchup? What do you think's next for Gabe Kidd with Roye Uyowa or Kenny Omega?
This was a great match, a great main event. Again, I love New Japan that they are giving us heavyweight versus junior. It's the open weight because I think with Never, we sort of lose that essence because like whether it's the 6-man tag or the Never open weight, it feels like they just give it to like heavyweights. They have heavyweights challenge for it. So I like that they not only had a junior challenger for it, but an upcoming junior. And like Fujita had a lot of momentum going into this match. Obviously, him and Ichiban Sweet Boys got a match set for Wrestle Kingdom. They won Tag League. And I liked, this match was very good wrestling-wise, but the fucking Madman proved that it's not just wrestling. It's when he got on the mic, he started calling people out. He called Kenny Omega to a point where he was underestimating Fujita. And that's where they very smartly, after the Kenny Omega comment, had Fujita switch it up and, suddenly gain that momentum and adrenaline. Yeah. I think Owi was the perfect opponent because it's similar to, when Taichi challenged Finlay. It's like, well, so Finlay wanted Uemura, but obviously Uemura couldn't do it. So Taichi did it and then got betrayed by Sonal. Should have seen it coming. It's all Uemura's fault then. Should we just say that?
There you go. Uemura was the breakup for the Just Five Guys era. Yeah.
But then obviously Fujita didn't get the win. So then to save the reputation of TMDK, Oyowa came out. And I really like that they keep having this belt for young, because if anyone doesn't know, the Never title actually was created with the young people in mind. It was something that the youngest wrestlers on the card would fight for. And obviously, over time, it lost that and it became more of like a hardcore belt. But I like this idea that the open weight title is now allowing the younger guys to have shots at it, whether you're heavyweight or junior.
As it should be. That's what the open weight division that I learned about was always about. So it's nice that at least with the NJPW Strong Championship, you saw last time they had the show in Capital Collision, it was Gabe Kidd versus Leo Rush. And now this time you have Gabe Kidd versus Kosei Fujita. So I like that.
I'd like a junior to hold it at one point. It'd be nice to see that.
Yeah. It's got to be Hiromu.
It's got to be Hiromu. Well, no, I think if I want Hiromu or anything, I want him to have a New Japan belt.
Yeah.
Give him the Never belt.
Yeah. I think that's why that matchup with him and Honore was so good, because a lot of people convinced themselves that it was possible. And what do you think about what Gabe Kidd told me about him facing Kenny Omega at Wrestle Dynasty? If that wasn't the plan, it should be the plan now.
If I can tell you, because when I bought tickets, I believe I've been told that there is like sections for foreigners, and like that's when you buy it off the global site. There will probably be 1,000 people cheering for Kenny Omega. I will be that one voice shouting, "It's the fucking madman!" really loudly, with like a massive British flag, which I could probably use both days for both Zach and Gabe. But you guys know I followed Gabe for years. Like I interviewed him right before he went to the dojo when he went for the first time. Like I followed him for years. So to see him at this stage, it shows that if you have a passion for wrestling, you can be from one of the most unknown towns. Like obviously Nottingham's not that unknown in the UK, but if you go out and ask anyone in the world, they're not gonna know Nottingham. But if you someone from like a place like that who was wrestling on the independent scene, if you love the sport, love what you're doing and you're passionate about, you can get to the top and be someone who is possibly wrestling one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, if you work hard, you can achieve it, guys.
One of the best wrestlers ever. So yeah, that's
exactly. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a big deal that New Japan and Kenny Omega trust him to be the guy that he's going up against.
Yeah, because it wouldn't just be New Japan. Kenny would have to have, because he's not wrestled for ages, and he can have his pick of anybody. And the fact that he is willing to do it with Gabe shows just how much of an impact Gabe has made.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed there. Yes, we are big Gabe Kidd fans here. But yes, great matchup to end things off for Fighting Spirit Unleashed. A lot of things set up for Strong Style Evolved coming up in December, as well as Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty on January 4th and 5th. Let us know in the live chat. We appreciate y'all if you're joining us live and you sound off in the live chat. But we want to hear from all of you guys. So send those super chat donations. Last call for those. But of course, let us know in the live chat your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP. Out of 10, what did you give the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle for me and Sonal for NJPW Fighting Spirit Unleashed 2024 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up, thumbs slightly up for Sonal. Thumbs slightly up for Sonal, thumbs up for me. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought the wrestling was good throughout. I think I gave the main event, I forgot to give it a star rating. I gave that 4 stars. So nothing like below 3 stars really on this show, except for maybe to some people. And maybe if I have to watch 30 minutes again, probably there's only one match that I would give that lower to. So nothing bad on the show. It was good wrestling. But most of all, the reason why I give it such a positive score and thumbs up is because of the ramifications that it has for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. This feels like a show coming out of it where it's like, oh man, I missed some stuff because they set some stuff up. Storylines, like you said at the beginning of the show, were set up for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. So I give it a 7 out of 10. What did you give it?
I give it a 7. Like that 3 is for that 2 out of 3 falls. I don't see. I've never watched it, and that's what brought it to this. Because like the matches were fine. Again, it would have been like that if there's if they were all consistently good. But that did. But like you said, ahead of Wrestle Kingdom, they really set up some massive ones, and it was a really nice mix of the veterans, the present, and the future of New Japan. So solid.
Yes, solid 7 from both of us. What was your match of the night, Sonal?
Fujita versus Gabe. I think it was great. It was from the wrestling to the storylines to that. Everything just worked really nicely together. Because technically, I could have said match of the night. Segment of the night was Shingo versus Takeshita and Ishii, but that's not a match, so I can't say that.
That's fair. But yeah, I agree with you. Gabe Kidd versus Kosei Fujita is my match of the night. Just so much great, hard-hitting action between them with the storytelling, with the emotion there from their history in the dojo. So a lot of good stuff. And Gabe Kidd talking trash like no other. My MVP for the show, I'm going to give it to Konosuke Takeshita because he had two of the OGs that haven't got a lot of attention over the last couple of years, Shingo Takagi and Tomohiro Ishii, and he has them in two of the biggest matches, the most must-see matches for one of the biggest weekends or two-day events of the year, which is going to be Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty in January. So Konosuke Takeshita and put on a damn good matchup with TJP. I give him the MVP.
I also give him the MVP again. A great match. He has set up probably one of my most anticipated matches now for January 4th and 5th. So, yeah, Takeshita.
We're Takeshita fans as well. LVP for the show, Sonal.
That all four who were in that match, I didn't watch.
I'm going to give it to the losers of that match. Tom Lawler and
No,
Fred
they all
Rosser.
deserve it. You know, that match was not good. I didn't even watch it. But I've not seen a single positive review of that match.
Yeah. I tried to be positive. Sprinkle some.
You were quite positive, to be fair. I was
quite positive. I said three and a quarter, something around there. They deserve something for their efforts. They bled a lot.
Yeah, for the bleeding itself, that should get them enough.
But I also give it the LVP, Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser, because they lost that match. At least with West Coast Wrecking Crew, it's a match that is a lot of people did not like, and you won it. So now you can move on to something bigger with Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler. They lost. So they got nothing out of that match.
Are they staying together? Are they splitting up? We don't know.
They got nothing out of that matchup. So at least West Coast Wrecking Crew got a win. So give it to them. But yes, that brings us to the end of our Fighting Spirit Unleash review. Want to appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. And I always appreciate doing these reviews with Sonal. Oh, I didn't even ask you, Sonal. How did you like the new intro? Did you like the
I was going to say, I was obsessed. I was meant to say that at the start. I was like, whoa, we've gone high scale here. I was obsessed. I was like, yes. I liked how I was right. Like when you had the ones of all three of us, and I was right before Zack Sabre Jr. clip. I was like, yes.
Look at that. Perfect. The trio. Yes. We're going to get our trio back together. Shout outs to Jane News. I know you couldn't make it today, but we're going to get our trio back together because we got to talk about World Tag League. We got NJPW and Stardom, historic crossover. That's coming up as well. Yeah, I think that's not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. Yeah, I think it's the 17th, the Sunday. Yeah, a week from this. It's this Sunday. Yeah, see, time
I'm
flies. Still getting my time back.
When you're crossing continents, time flies.
My time is so out of it. So yeah, Sunday. So we got to figure out Wednesday, Friday. We'll figure out our schedule, who can be on there to preview that for y'all. So we'll do something for that as well as World Tag League. We do got one final super chat donation from I Make Beats. Thank you so much, I Make Beats, for the love, for the support. He says, thanks, y'all. Thank you, as always, for joining us live. Thank y'all if you're watching us on demand as well. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought about Fighting Spirit Unleashed, what you think about all the big matches for Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. Me and Sonal will team up. We got to talk about some big shows, big tournaments for New Japan Pro Wrestling, so be on the lookout for that. Follow me on the Twitter machine at True Heel SP3. Check out the flagship podcast, True Heel Heat 302 from yesterday. So go over and check that out as well. But for Sonal, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been our NJPW Fighting Spirit Unleashed 2024 review. We are signing off until next time.